Though it appears to be nothing more than an elderly East Indian man with receding gray hair and an average build, the Foundation classifies this entity as a Class 4 reality bender with the ability to warp the very fabric of existence around him. SCP-4769 is kept in a standard containment cell, but that's not what makes his confinement unique. What's truly remarkable is that he remains in a permanent state of unconsciousness, constantly monitored by no fewer than 3 Level 4 Foundation personnel at all times. His unconscious state isn't maintained through simple sedatives or chemical means, but rather through an advanced simulation directly stimulating his optical nerves and prefrontal cortex, creating an artificial reality in which he believes he continues to teach physics. The elaborate simulation runs on a highly modified Cray supercomputer that must be kept below -190 degrees Celsius using a constant flow of liquid nitrogen, a temperature cold enough to liquefy air itself. This extreme cooling isn't merely a precaution, but a necessity, for when SCP-4769 says something happens, the universe listens and obeys. Maintenance of this system occurs fortnightly, requiring technicians to work quickly while the subject is placed into an induced coma. Even then, temperatures can only be raised to -50 degrees Celsius to prevent catastrophic system failure. We've learned through bitter experience that SCP-4769 doesn't require food or water to survive, yet remains biologically human in every measurable way. Prior to containment, he worked as a physics lecturer at Redacted University, though, strangely enough, not a single colleague or student could recall his name, how long he'd been employed, or even seeing him enter or exit the building. Students who attended his lectures showed no anomalous properties themselves beyond a curious lack of actual physics knowledge compared to their peers, something we now understand all too well. The most concerning aspect of SCP-4769 is how his anomalous abilities activate through the simplest of means, vocalization or written words. Anytime he describes physics incorrectly, reality itself changes to match his description. Most disturbingly, he appears completely oblivious to these reality-warping effects, even when they cause drastic alterations to his surroundings. The Foundation discovered SCP-4769 after news reports of extreme slipperiness causing multiple car crashes on Redacted Road. Mobile Task Force Beta 23, codenamed Crowbar, found him in the center of the affected area, absent-mindedly teaching a group of students. Apparently, during his lecture, he had neglected to account for friction in a hypothetical scenario involving car kinematics, and reality had adjusted accordingly. After he was apprehended and the error in his equation pointed out, the road returned to normal, proving the direct correlation between his words and reality. Dr. Hopper immediately reclassified him from Euclid to Keter, stating, and I quote, "This was a lot worse than we could have imagined. This idiot makes a single mistake, and we're done." During initial interviews, SCP-4769, who insisted on being called Reg, displayed doctorate-level knowledge in classical mechanics, thermodynamics, relativity, electronics, quantum mechanics, and astrophysics, yet lacked even basic understanding of virtually anything else. He remained largely inattentive during questioning unless physics was being discussed, and became agitated when interrupted, saying, "It really slows down the lesson." Observation logs from the simulation have documented numerous reality-altering incidents, including when he misspelled spectra as spectra, with IK instead of a C, causing dictionaries within 200 meters to change their spelling to match his assertion. When he incorrectly stated that objects of exactly equal mass cancel each other's gravity out, the simulation froze completely, and several components of the supercomputer nearly melted from the computational strain. In another incident, he accidentally labeled Earth's gravitational acceleration as 98.0 meters per second squared instead of 9.8, causing a simulated Earth to compact to less than half its normal size. Perhaps most concerning was when he incorrectly stated the speed of light, causing a catastrophic simulation failure and briefly waking from his comatose state before being sedated again. Dr. Hopper, recognizing potential benefits to the Foundation, attempted controlled experiments within the simulation, communicating with SCP-4769 through an avatar posing as a student. While most tests yielded expected results, some produced troubling outcomes, including when SCP-4769 was asked about what would happen if water reached absolute zero, briefly then returned to normal temperature. The simulation recorded affected atoms as far as redacted light years from the point of experiment, with the supercomputer reaching critical temperatures before emergency reset. Perhaps most disturbing are recent observations that SCP-4769 is beginning to show signs of remembering information from past simulation resets, expressing increasing bewilderment and déjà vu. As Dr. Hopper noted, he's learning. The Foundation continues to maintain SCP-4769 in his simulated reality not just to contain his abilities, but to protect our world from a man who can unmake physics with a verbal typo or a misplaced decimal point. For as long as he remains unconscious, reality remains stable. But the question remains, what happens when the simulation inevitably fails? What happens when the teacher awakes and finds himself in a classroom far different than the one he believes he's been teaching in all along? What happens when reality itself becomes the student of a professor who doesn't know what he's doing?
Thank you for listening to the SCP Labs podcast. Till we meet again.